What's up everyone? April the 2nd is World Autism Awareness Day 2019 and already people are getting excited. They are lighting it up blue, wearing their blue clothes with pride and changing their Facebook photos to a puzzle piece, all in the name of raising awareness about autism. Now this is a rant, fair warning. I'm going to keep this rant a little bit shorter than my other videos, mainly because I want people to actually watch it, and the people that I want to watch it are the people who are known for having slightly shorter attention span and maybe lack of attention to detail. I am of course talking about people without autism. The thing that really baffles me about these awareness campaigns is that people already know about autism. It's like the pinkified and highly commodified breast cancer awareness campaign. Haven't we all heard of breast cancer by this point? And similarly, I think everybody's heard of autism. Do we really need more t-shirt and other pieces of junk for every cause that we're passionate about? Why must charity be so entwined with consumerism and buying more crap? And does this actually help the people that you claim you want to support? Well, in the case of the Light It Up Blue campaign, not only does it not actually help autistic people that much, but it is actively harmful in many ways. Let me tell you a little something about the Light It Up Blue campaign in case you are unfamiliar with it. Blue was chosen because it represents boys, but I reject this as it completely ignores the struggles of many autistic women out there, not to mention the fact that autistic women are very underdiagnosed. There have been many alternatives suggested, some like the Go Red Instead campaign, I guess because they like to rhyme. A lot of people want to light it up gold because the symbol for gold is AU, you know, like autism. And some people just prefer the rainbow infinity symbol. But either way, blue is not a popular choice among the autistic community. For me, personally, I don't really care. I don't particularly need a special colour to represent me. Another reason why autistic people may not like the campaign is because it's organised and many people fundraise for an American charity called Autism Speaks. This charity is really loathed by a lot of autistic people, and I say loathed and I really do mean that. They like to speak for and about autistic people without any input or consultation from them. They also advocate ABA therapy, which is short for Applied Behaviour Analysis, which is essentially like dog training for people. What they try to do is they try to correct abnormal behavior. So part of the therapy involves correcting the behavior or having the child not doing the behavior and then get a treat at the end for doing the right thing. I shit you not. That is how ABA works. It is classical conditioning. Well, I don't even know if you can call it classical conditioning, but in my opinion, it's like dog training. And ABA has been known to cause PTSD and various forms of trauma in autistic people. And there are autistic adults out there who are still suffering from the effects of this ABA therapy that they had as a child. Essentially, this therapy is based around getting the autistic person to mask and pass as neurotypical, something that has been shown to be extremely detrimental to autistic people's mental health in the long run. Autism Speaks also spend a lot of their money on research, which is a nice way of saying that they are looking for a cure for autism. Now this, in my opinion, is a slippery slope to eugenics, the way that people talk about autistic people, but there is a lot of hate speak. And there are a lot of people that if there was a genetic screener for autism, they would abort the fetus. There are people out there who would try to cure the way I am, and I reject that. Light It Up Blue and Autism Speaks go hand in hand with the puzzle piece logo, and I hate the puzzle piece as well as many autistic people. We don't have missing pieces, we are not a missing piece, we're not a fucking riddle to be solved. We will tell you what we struggle with if you listen. But my biggest issue with this kind of campaign is how does lighting up national monuments actually help people with autism? Are people actually any wiser to what it looks like in real people rather than stereotypes they see on TV? Or do they know how to help their autistic family members more after the campaign? I really don't think so. It's just a nice way of feeling like you're doing something for charity or for disadvantaged people. Here's a thought, why don't we try listening to autistic people for once? Why are we still treating it like a disease or a disorder and not celebrating neurodiversity in all its glory? Now, I cannot claim to speak for any autistic people other than myself. I am a very heavy masker and I have been my whole life. And I'm sure I will get comments here saying that I must be so high functioning and I don't look autistic. And it's really different for people with real autism.
Real autism.
So I'm just going to shut you down right there. Autism is something that affects my life every single day. From a sensory perspective, it's like the world's brightness and volume has been turned up to 11. If I'm in a quiet room, I can hear my own circulatory system. I'm pretty much the princess on the pea. And yes, Hans Christian Andersen was on the spectrum. But the amount of sensory input in my environment directly affects how autistic I seem to other people. So if I talk to you one-on-one in a quiet room, you may not even notice it that much. Maybe someone else joins in the conversation and all of a sudden I'm kind of struggling to keep up because there's two people to keep track on. Somebody puts some music on or some other noise comes on and all of a sudden I'm struggling to keep up with two people and then I really can't hear that well and I can't distinguish different sounds and voices very well. And now my feet are hurting because I realize I wore the wrong socks with these shoes and so they're kind of rubbing in an uncomfortable way, so that is bothering me, all the while trying to keep up with people's conversations. So I'm trying so hard to keep up with these conversations and then, oh, whoops, I said something inappropriate. And now I'm wondering, like, oh, A, did they notice? And B, do they care? So I'm trying to read all of their body language as well as keep track of the conversation, not be bothered by my shoes that are annoying me, actually hear what is going on. And so as you can imagine, my internal monologue is now going off. And as a result, I stop contributing to the conversation. So you're no longer having a conversation with me, I'm just sort of there. But believe me, there's plenty going on behind the scenes. You can see why I might not be that much fun at parties sometimes. You can also see why a lot of autistic people drink to control their symptoms because it just takes the edge off a little bit. But the thing I want to get across to you is that my autism isn't just about my everyday difficulties, although I do feel sometimes like I'm never going to be able to organize my emails properly or complete household tasks in a timely manner, and it's just a constant struggle to stay on top of that. But there are parts of my autism which are a gift, and that is the reason why I would never want a cure. I can see mistakes at a glance. I notice patterns and irregularities in everything, and I can see the big picture all at once, as well as all the small details in it. Sometimes I'm thinking so many steps ahead that I'm not even getting across what I want to say to the other person because they're over here and I'm already over here with my thought. Despite being plagued by executive functioning difficulties my whole life, I was still able to complete large pieces of academic writing, often the night before it was due, and still excel academically, thanks to my ability to hyperfocus and concentrate for long periods when necessary. If you think I'm boasting, I'm really not. To me, there is nothing impressive about the way that my brain naturally is. I just want to convince you that there is a beauty and a depth to autism that is never talked about in these narratives. And focusing on autism as a disease or a disorder that needs awareness raising and pity parties and fundraisers, to me, is not the way forward. Yes, there are specific challenges, and obviously living with anyone who is violent or non-verbal is going to be a challenge. But what organizations like Autism Speaks see is the behavior, not all the things that happened to build up, which produces the behavior. So, in my opinion, if you see an autistic person having a meltdown, that's not autism. That's the result of an autistic person having their needs overlooked, or them overlooking their own needs. Now, I understand that autistic people vary so much that it can be really hard to know how to accommodate us. And especially when we're so different, or we might even have conflicting needs. So some people might need some really, really quiet space and other people might need a lot of stimulation. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't try. If you're still watching this, and thank you very much if you are, you might be thinking, okay, so I can't do this, but what do you want me to do instead? So here are some suggestions. If you know autistic people, and chances are you do, then ask them what they struggle with. We tend to be pretty straightforward and honest when asked a straightforward and honest question. So go for it. What have you got to lose? If you run a local group or a sports club, or if you're a business owner which serves the general public, think about the ways in which you might be alienating autistic people. So maybe you own a shop or restaurant which plays music for the atmosphere. That is something that is really irritating, well, I think to a lot of people, but particularly to autistic people, and it will ruin our entire experience, maybe even to the point where we will not come back if we know that the music is going to be loud. Maybe you only accept bookings by telephone, and you don't have any option for people to send an email or a web form to make a booking or appointment. This is something that a lot of autistic people struggle with, is talking on the phone, or maybe understanding on the phone. I mean, I live in the Netherlands, which adds a whole layer of complexity when I'm trying to speak a different language on the phone and deal with all the problems that I have as an autistic person in communicating by telephone. Or maybe you have a shop where you are training your sales staff to approach customers aggressively. Lush. But if you would like to start implementing a strategy to be more accommodating to autistic people, please ask us before doing something that none of us wanted. Some supermarkets have been trialling autism hours, which are great in theory but mixed in practice. Sometimes they can be at impractical times of the day. For example, not everybody can get up at 9 o'clock on a Sunday morning to go to your autism hour, and 9 o'clock on a Sunday morning might be pretty quiet anyway. A lot of places have special autistic or quiet areas, shopping malls for example, and you see they also sound great in theory, but then what are they? Just a bunch of shapes and soft play and bright colors painted on the walls. And it's easy to really infantilize the needs of autistic people while also forgetting that there are autistic adults who might appreciate a space. It's not all about the children. And sometimes the solution is actually simpler and less expensive than you might think. We might need something just as simple as a quiet place to sit down with soft lighting, a glass of cold water, some noise-cancelling headphones, away from the noise and busyness of life that seems to go hand in hand in any public place these days. So thank you so much for watching till the end. If you have any questions for me, feel free to comment down below. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to me for more videos on autism. Thanks for watching.